Welcome back. I am Pratap here. Today is 17th October 2023. Let us generate demand and supply zones for the daily time frame. So entry time frame is daily. Let us find the stocks which are near to the daily demand zone. So these 8 stocks are filtered where price is near to the daily demand zone. We have one high liquidity zone, high liquidity demand zone, mother zone, which is a fresh zone. And at the equilibrium, daily trend and monthly trend are up and weekly is sideways. And we have one more high liquidity zone, PNB. We have already seen this yesterday during our yesterday's report, but it is already tested 3 times. So you should look for a deep entry or fresh 75 minutes demand zone inside this high liquidity zone. Trend is good. Daily trend and weekly trend are uptrend. Monthly is sideways. Location is also good. It is low on the curve. So this is about stocks near demand zone. Let's go back. Entry time frame is daily. Let us find the stocks which are near to the daily supply zone. And this is the filtered list. We don't have any high liquidity zones near to this. See, the reason is sometimes we are missing some of the high liquidity zones because stocks near the zones is very strict, because the algorithm is based on the volatility changes, but it is close to, like, maybe within a 0.5% or 1% range. Probably this algorithm will try to identify the stocks. Sometimes you may miss some stocks which are just a little above the zone than what our algorithm is finding. So if you want to find such kind of stocks having any high liquidity zone, what we can do, let me show you. Let us go to the top-down analysis strategy builder. So entry time frame is daily. I want to find demand zone and look into this parameter high liquidity. So I am selecting the high liquidity as S by R. That means support, resistance, high liquidity zones. And I am also selecting one more parameter, price direction. When you want to find the stocks near demand zone, the direction should be the stocks should move towards the demand zone. From where they will be moving, either stocks will be moving from supply zone to demand zone or all-time high to the demand zone. One of these possibilities. So let me select supply zone to demand zone. That means I want my stock should have both supply zone and demand zone, but the direction is towards the demand zone. Okay, let me show you one more parameter, that is minimum price percent to reach the zone. How much price percent? A minimum price percent. So that means my stock should be within 1% level before my demand zone should be listed. From my demand zone, within 1% level, all the stocks. So let me select the value as 1. 1 indicates 1%. So let me filter the stocks. Only one stock is listed, that is a Nifty Bank, which is moving supply zone to, support demand zone. Look into the strategy, search strategy. Entry zone is demand zone. Your high liquidity zone is S by R. And your direction is daily direction. For daily time frame, the stock should move from supply zone to demand zone. And the max price person to reach the zone, that is a daily zone, it should be less than or equal to. That means from our daily zones, high liquidity zone, within 1% level, only Nifty Bank is available. Now, let me increase this percentage. Let me go back. Here, instead of 1, I am giving 2%. So, from my high liquidity zones, and stock should be within the 2% level. So, let me filter. Now, 4 high liquidity zones are listed. We have a Nifty Bank, a Nifty Private Bank, we have Apollo Tires. It has a, actually this stock is not listed in our report. What we have seen? Motherson and PNB we have seen. Is there any pierced? No. None of these stocks are pierced. Now what we do? Let us see within 3% level. So instead of 2, now I am changing 3%. That means the maximum percentage where my stocks are currently listed near the zone. So let me click on this strategy. See now max percent to reach the daily zones is less than or equal to 3%. Now one more stock is added. Tata Steel is there, OFSS is there. They were not there in the earlier report, and Nifty Mid Cap Select is also there. So all these stocks are within 3% range starting from the demand zone. Now what you can do, you can focus, because sometimes if any of these stocks fell down by 3%, you can get an entry in that stock. That way this strategy is helpful to you. Same strategy you can apply to supply zones as well. So let's go back. Now my entry zone, entry time frame is daily, but entry zone is supply zone. Instead of demand zone, now we change it to supply zone. You are looking for support resistance zones. And price direction this time, it should be changed to demand zone to supply zone. Because we want our stocks before the supply zone. If it is before the supply zone, the direction should be from demand zone to supply zone. It should move. Or all-time low to supply zone. That is also possible. But anyway, we are looking for demand zone to supply zone. And what is the percentage we want? Let us start with 1% level. So no stocks are available. So within 1% level, there are no stocks near the daily high liquidity supply zones. Okay, now let me increase the percentage to 2%. Are there any stocks just 2% before the daily high liquidity supply zone? And one stock is listed, that is Nifty 50. Nifty 50 is just 2% before its supply zone, high liquidity supply zone, which is a fresh high liquidity supply zone. I don't know how many of you remembered, some couple of weeks back, I have shown you Nifty 50 and Bank Nifty supply zone chain and demand zone chain. So at the time I told you, Nifty will be moving within a range because it is between a high liquidity zone and this. Now it is a pierced demand zone, but earlier it was a support demand zone, high liquidity zone earlier. I told you the price will be moving for the next few weeks, price will be moving within this range. That is what you have experienced. For the last 2 weeks, price was moving within this range only. But it is just pierced. I also explained the reason behind this in one of our discussions earlier. There was a bear trap just below this demand zone. So now Nifty is reaching near to the resistance supply zone. This is a 2% level. Let us look into 3% level. Now see, 5 stocks are listed. You have Aurobindo Pharma, which is 3% just before the resistance supply zone. HR Motor, but it is already pierced, so we will not consider this. Ind Bank also pierced, we will not consider. If you don't want pierced zone, what you can do? Go back. You have a pierced count. So keep this 0, 0. So only zones having pierced count 0 will be listed. See, now the list is reduced to only 3. So here we have Nifty 50, Aurobindo Pharma and ICICI Bank. And ICICI Bank is also having a fresh high liquidity zone. Just price is just before 3% before this zone. So let's go back. We are looking for only S by R. What about we have another high liquidity zone, CZ. Let us select this. Ultratech Cement. The C underscore SZ. This is also a fresh one. And only one stock is there. The price is just 3% before this, maybe 3% or even less than that. And what about counter trend related stocks? Let us select counter trend. This TCP filter. We have Nifty 50. But we are seeing R underscore SZ, right? Yes, actually this stock supports both TCP underscore SZ as well as R underscore SZ. Because R underscore SZ is having more priority than TCP underscore SZ, the highest priority I am listing in this type. But actually it supports both. That's why it is listed in both the filters. We have ICICI Bank. Look into this, ICICI ZI. Is the demand zone is a high liquidity zone and supply zone is also high liquidity zone. So it's been moving within this range for the last few weeks. And both the zones has given a good results. It is tested twice and gave even 4 rejections from this. This is also tested 2 times and rejections also same. And look into the RR. How much? 2.10 and 7.81. It's more than 3.5 RR. Maybe close to 4. 1:4. Your risk is 1 and reward is 4. Close to 1:4. And how we are able to identify these stocks? We didn't find these stocks when we are filtering based on stocks near the demand zones and near the supply zones. because the near the demand and supply zones, the algorithm is based on the volatility of the stocks, and it is very strict, very close to the demand and supply zones only. It will be listed based on the volatility changes. But this one is purely based on the percentage, not based on the volatility changes. Because of volatility changes, it has its own advantages. One advantage is most of the time the stocks near demand zone and near supply zone will be successful. Either they don't come and execute the trade. In case if the trade is triggered, mostly you get success. But these zones are not listed based on the volatility changes. These stocks are listed based on the percentages near the demand zone and near the supply zone. That's why you should be a little bit careful, because volatility measurement is not considered in this algorithm, because it is purely based on percentage changes. Just stocks before 2% level or stocks before 3% level. In this example, it is 3% level. But the advantage is you are getting more stocks, because if all of a sudden if any stock is down by 3%, that stock would have been listed in our stock near the demand zone, but you will get an entry. So focus on this list also for your analysis purpose, because all these stocks are only high liquidity zones. Okay, earlier we already generated stocks near demand and supply zones. Now let us find the stocks closed inside demand and supply zones. Entry time frame is daily. Let us find the stocks which are closed inside daily demand zone. So this is the filtered list. So 20 stocks are closed inside daily demand zone. So let's go back. For entry time frame daily, let us find the stocks where price closed inside daily supply zone. It looks like we have a big list. This is the filtered list. I will keep on scrolling. Always remember, whichever the stock you want to refer, there pause the video and study the parameters. If you don't pause, the list will be moving. So total 60 stocks are closed inside daily supply zone. Seems to be like many nifty 50 stocks are there in this list. Tata Steel, Tata Power, Tata Chemical. Okay. So this is about stocks which are inside supply zone. Let's go back. Entry time frame is daily. Let us find the tested daily demand zones. So these four stocks daily demand zones are tested. We look into the Havels. It tested the demand zone. Sixth time it tested. $13.77, and from there it moved how many? Maybe 7 rupees moved after testing this zone. Definitely it's not an intraday entry. We don't know because we have to look into the 75 minutes and we should analyze. We can't comment by seeing these numbers. So let's go back. For entry time frame daily, let us find the tested daily supply zones. So many supply zones are tested today. So total 28 supply zones tested today. So let's go back. Let's find the newly created zones. Entry time frame is daily. Let us find newly created demand zones. So these 9 stocks are having newly created demand zones. Let's go back. For entry time frame daily, let us find newly created supply zones. So these 4 stocks are having newly created supply zones. Emphasis got a confirmation supply zone. If if any one of you are aware of confirmation trading, you can focus on this. Daily trend is changed. Low on curve. Risk reward is also, but it should be fine tuned in the lower time frame. Okay, these are all the newly created demand and supply zones. This is the filtered list. So let me generate demand and supply zones for all the stocks. Entry time frame is daily. I'm generating the list. I will keep on scrolling this list. Scrolling down, and whichever the stock you want to refer, there you pause the video and you can study the parameters. So this is the end of the list. I hope this information is useful to you for your further study and analysis. So let us meet again in our next video. Thank you.